I took an edible before a haircut, and reality started bleeding. Let me just start by saying, I thought I was being efficient. I had a boring day ahead, laundry, errands, and a long overdue haircut. And I also had a 50 milligrams THC edible I'd been saving. My logic? Haircuts are awkward anyway. Why not make it fun? So, I ate the edible about 45 minutes before my 2 p.m. appointment, thinking I'd hit that perfect, stoned but friendly window. I did not. By the time I walked into the barbershop, the world was melting politely. Not in a scary way, yet, but like the walls were made of warm wax and someone had gently started turning up the sun. Everything shimmered. People's mouths moved just a little out of sync with their words. My limbs felt like meat puppets being piloted by a raccoon in my brain. I was holding it together, I think. The barber looked at me and asked, "You got an appointment?" I blinked for what felt like 5 full minutes and said, "Yup, haircut. Smooth." He gestured to the chair, and I walked like I'd just learned how knees work. I sat, made eye contact with myself in the mirror, and instantly regretted it. My reflection was already on a different script. I smiled. It blinked. I blinked. It licked its lips. Then the cape went around my neck, and I remember thinking, this is it. This is where it begins. Because I suddenly couldn't remember what kind of haircut I usually get. He asked, "What are we doing today?" And I stared at him like he'd just asked me to do trigonometry out loud. "Short, I said. Like, not as long." God bless him. He nodded and started buzzing. That's when I realized I was way too high to have someone touching my skull. Every vibration from the clippers echoed through my bones. My teeth were singing. The sound of hair hitting the floor was deafening. I tried to look normal, but my face had no instructions. Then I noticed a man 2 chairs down just staring at me. Not blinking, not scrolling on his phone, just watching. I tried to ignore him, looked back at the mirror, and now my reflection was mouthing different words than I was saying. I didn't say anything, but it smiled. Then it winked. I looked back to the staring man, still staring. Then he stood up, walked behind the chairs, and disappeared into the wall. No door, just walked through the goddamn wall. I shifted in my seat, hard. The barber said something that sounded like distant airplane engine noises. I nodded like I understood, while my hands started sweating so hard the cape was sticking to my arms. I glanced at the mirror again, my reflection now blinking on a loop, same blink, over and over. I looked away. The man, he was sitting back in his chair. He hadn't made a sound. I whispered, "Nope." "Barber, what's that?" "Me. Soap. Just love soap." He smiled. I was spiraling. Suddenly, the lighting in the shop dimmed, just slightly, but enough to make everything look like a lucid dream right before it goes off the rails. The barber's scissors clicked like bones. I heard whispering right behind me. "You don't belong here." I whipped around. Nothing. "You okay?" the barber asked. "Yep, fine. Love soap." At this point, I was halfway through the cut, but it felt like I had lived in that chair for 3 lifetimes. Time wasn't moving. It was circling. The man across the room walked to the window, turned to face the mirror and mouthed something. I swear he mouthed my name. That was it. I was out. I stood up mid-haircut, cape still on, neck hairs floating off like hell confetti. "Sorry, emergency." "You good?" the barber said. "Love soap," I yelled, then walked out like I had a purpose, which I did, survive. The sun hit me like a police spotlight. People looked too real. I ducked behind a dumpster, sat on the pavement, and tried to remember how reality worked. After 20 minutes, or maybe 3 years, I went home and stared into a mirror for an hour, trying to sync back up with my own face. The haircut? Not bad, honestly. Would I do it again? Never. Ever. Again.